In this video, we're going to take a look at finding problems without using the vector doctor. So here you can see I've made this text and I've done it a while back, and I know that there are a couple of problems with it, but I don't want to use the vector doctor, or maybe the vector doctor isn't actually seeing any problems with it. But when I go to machine it, I do have problems. So if I select all of the text, go to toolpaths, I'll create a VBit carving toolpath, select a carving tool, let's say the 90 degree, define my material, let's say that this is 1/2 inch, and then click refresh. And it's telling me that there are problems. Now, I don't want to use the vector doctor as I said, or it's not showing any problems. So select OK. And what I'm going to do is do this in sentences. So if I select the first sentence, click refresh, I can see that it refreshes OK and it gives me the maximum depth that it wants to cut. So I know that I haven't got a problem with that first sentence. Do the same for the second sentence. Haven't got a problem with that one. The third, that one's okay too. The fourth one, I've got a problem with that. So let's break this down into words. So was, that's okay. Some, that's okay. Scrap, that's got a problem. Wood, that's okay. So on this line, the scrap has the problem. So maybe let's break it up like that. So those two are okay there. Maybe let's take a look at the S and the C. So there's a problem with the S and the C. So let's take a look at the C and the R. That's okay. So that means that there's a problem with the S. Okay, so let's zoom in on this. So it's normally going to be these corners somewhere. So let's take a look at the top. That doesn't look too bad. That looks okay to me. Let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, so I can see where the problem is. So if I zoom in here, you can see that I've got this vector loop. Now, to do that within the program and not use the vector doctor, just node edit this. So if you go to node editing, and then what I would do is press C on the point that you'd like to cut it. So if I just hover there, press C. Now when you first press C, it will enter a node, so it will create a node. So you need to press it again afterwards, and that will then cut it. Do the same on that side, so press it twice, and then I can come out of the node editing. Then I can select that, delete it, and I can either basically join all this up and then create a line there. There are hundreds of ways to do this. Probably the quickest for me is just to delete that and then select that and then close the vector with a line. And that will then close it. So then if I refresh that, it gives me the depth. So let's just double check. Okay, so that's okay now. So hopefully that's the only thing that has a problem. So let's refresh this. So that's okay. And that's okay. So if I select all of that and refresh, it's okay. And then it allows me to calculate it, but now it's saying that there are open vectors. So where are there open vectors? So let's calculate it and then let's simulate it. So I can see that the A isn't cutting correctly. So that must be the open vector. Even though it won't give me a warning there because it's open, it's automatically going to machine it. If you get that message pop up, you need to make sure that you simulate it, and then you can see where there may be a problem. So let's delete that and let's take a look at that A. So you can see that the V bits or the carving is going right inside that. So let's turn off the toolpath and let's take a look at it. So there you can see it's not joined up. What we need to do is join that up. Now, if we calculate it, don't get that error message or that warning, and then you can simulate the toolpath and it works fine. Now, what if we were doing the same method on something a bit more complex, like this flourish that I have on the screen here? So if I go to toolpaths, do exactly the same process, select a carving tool, just approach it as though you're going to just machine it straight off. Select the vectors to machine. I'm going to define my material, let's say 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to calculate. So again, I've got vector intersections. I don't want to use the vector doctor. I want to just find out where they are. So what I would do on this is break it up into sections. So let's just choose those sections there and refresh. Okay, that works. Do the same there. Refresh, that works. Do the same there. That works. Now, obviously, you're not selecting the outside, but it's probably not going to be the outside. It's probably going to be one of these small flourishes on the inside. So select that. That works. That works. That works. Okay, so I've got a problem this end. So somewhere here, there is a problem. So let's have a look at that. So I know that that's okay. Let's take a look at those. That's okay. Let's have a look at these. So there's a problem there. So let's break this one down. Okay, so that's got a problem. That's okay. And all of that's okay. So it must be within this section here. So if I zoom in, and I think I can see what the problem is. So see how that's overlapping there. So it's an intersection. So if I were to deselect that one and refresh, you can see that it then will refresh. So that's what the problem is. Now, a quick way to do this is just go into node editing and then just grab that and move it so it's not intersecting. So now if I select all of that and refresh, it should be okay. So I'm hoping that that's all of the problems. So if I select all of those, refresh, you can see that it does it. And then I can calculate the toolpath. Let's simulate it just to take a look at it. Okay, so that's how you fix problems with your vector artwork without even using the vector doctor.